You're listening to Thank Me for My Cervix, a podcast where we talk about all things mental health with a focus on the veteran and the military community. I'm your host, Marine Corps veteran Shauna Marie. And as always, you can watch every episode live right here on Instagram. You can watch the reruns on YouTube, and you can listen to audio on Spotify. Check out our t-shirts, support your favorite podcast, and support Left Foot, Right Foot, who makes our t-shirts, and they are a non-profit organization that donates all proceeds to veterans in need. And if you're a mental health advocate and you feel like you have something to add to the podcast or something that military veterans or anyone who struggles with mental health might benefit from, come on my podcast, message me. There's a link in my bio. I'm always looking for guests. The better. Is Kava beneficial? I've heard good things. I've heard great things about Kava too. I still have yet to try it, even though I've had them on my podcast. But I've had listeners reach out and say that Kava's awesome too. So, okay, but before I get to your questions, today's guest, she's a badass. She's muscle mommy queen. We're gonna get her on. Her name is Candy. I already saw that she requested to join, so we're gonna go ahead and get her on and let her talk to y'all too. It always takes a minute.
Good morning. Hi.
Good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to me today. I'm so excited.
I'm thrilled to. Thank you for having me on.
Yes. So we're going to go ahead and just dive right in and get to know a little bit about you. So tell me a little bit about what you do now. We'll start with that. Tell me about what you do.
So what I currently do, I'm a personal trainer. I specialize in CrossFit. I'm a CrossFit coach. I have a level 2 certification. So that is my wheelhouse. That is what I know. That is what I do best. But I'm also a personal trainer. So I do CrossFit classes, and then I also coach individuals. And I just got a nutrition certification. So now I've added nutrition counseling to my repertoire as well.
That's super awesome. That's really awesome. So we're going to go back a little bit. What got you into fitness? Have you always been into fitness? And tell me a little bit about your journey with fitness.
Well, I've always been athletic. In high school, junior high, I was on swim team, I was on wrestling team. I've done kickboxing, regular boxing. Needless to say, I think the kickboxing or the wrestling started my love of contact sports, full contact sports. So after I had my son in 2010, I was looking for something to get active. I'm like, I need an activity, I need a hobby, I need something to do. And so I saw an ad in my local paper for roller derby, and it happened to be on my birthday. And I was like, I'm going to go watch a roller derby game for my birthday, and ended up just falling in love with it. I was like, I want to do this because I grew up I was a rink rat. I grew up roller skating. So I'm like, I want to do this. And so I signed up, winter tryouts. How do I start? Where do I begin? And I got a pair of skates, and next thing you know, roller derby for 9 years.
That's so awesome. I've seen roller derby, and it's I can see where the passion for that comes from. And
Yeah.
It is no joke. That is physical fitness at its peak.
It is. So what got me into actual like CrossFit doing by way of roller derby, 3 months, so they call us fresh meat, the training camp. So I broke my ankle at a practice like 2 months in. Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be my look too.
It wasn't even, I don't even have a cool story. I fell on my own. I literally was just doing some footwork. I fell backwards. I landed on my foot. My foot went bleh, and yeah. Oh, it was a spiral compound tib fib fracture. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
My foot was at a 90. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
When I recovered from that, I was back on skates in 3 months.
Wow.
I need to be stronger. I need to be more limber. I need more flexibility. I need to be stronger so this doesn't happen again. So I asked around, hey, Sean, I asked around to my friends. I'm like, hey, I want to start working out. I'm looking for a gym to join. Anybody got any recommendations? And that's kind of when CrossFit first started taking off. And a friend of mine, she's like, "Oh, I just started going to this CrossFit gym. You'll love it. You would really do great there." So I started doing CrossFit, and I loved that. And I'm like, yeah. So when I recovered and actually like went through another boot camp and actually, got through and started skating with the team, I remember there were some, so I was like a B, C level skater. And at the beginning of the season, they would always do like a fresh meat, old beef bout. So like the A level skaters would get to beat up us fresh meat. And there was this one skater, I cannot remember her name, but she was like the best
A
skater on the team.
beast.
And yeah, she was just agility, all of it. She was just amazing. And every time she would hit me, she'd bounce off of me. She could not push me out of bounds. She could slow me down, but she couldn't push me out of bounds. So she came up to me after the game. She's like, "Oh my God." She's like, I could not move you." And I'm like, "Thank you, CrossFit."
I
So
love that.
yeah,
I
that
love that.
started, and then I joined a gym, and the gym that I was with, they got taken over by another bigger gym. And the owner of that gym, Zach Forrest, he had CrossFit Max Effort. It was one of the most visited gyms in the US here in Las Vegas. He wanted all of his athletes at the gym to be level 1 certified. So I got to go through an apprenticeship program for level 1 for free. Like, who wouldn't take that opportunity?
That's awesome.
So yeah, so doing that, I was like, you know what? I I wouldn't mind being a coach. Like, I'm already coaching roller derby. I'm like, yeah, let me coach CrossFit too, get into my fitness. And so that really just started it all. I started coaching. I've been coaching for 6 years. No, 7 years. Yeah, coaching for 7 years. But yeah, it all
That's
started
really
from roller
awesome.
derby.
It kind of seems like it found you. Like you really didn't have a choice. This is like
Yeah,
your life was just like, hey, this is what you're doing, and boom, now you're a coach.
yeah, because prior to that, I had been in administrative work. My my roller derby name, ironically, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Horrible Sing Along blog with Neil Patrick Harris, Nathan Fillion. It's a
No, but I can write it down.
it's a total B movie, but there's a character in it called Captain Hammer, Corporate Tool. That
Okay.
was my derby name. I was Captain Hammer.
Captain Hammer. Okay, I'm gonna look
Captain
that up just because it's
Cool.
perfect.
Yeah. Oh, hilarious movie. Yeah. So that's because I'd always worked in administration, corporate America, and when I got out of that and started coaching, like, yeah. So that was my derby name, Captain Hammer.
That's so fun. So do you still do the roller derby, or are you still involved in any way?
No, I did that. Oh, I got a phone call. I thought I had my thing on Do Not Disturb. So
Mine is too, and I got a phone call too. I
yeah.
whatever.
So I had oh God, what was it? I lost my train of thought. That like totally threw me off.
Oh,
What
no,
was
it's
the question?
okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So are you still a part of the roller derby community? Are you involved in any way?
No, I have completely retired from roller derby and I currently play rugby.
Oh,
I told you, full contact sports. I love full
taking it
contact sports. So,
easy.
yeah, I mean, a lot of, but a couple of roller derby players like made the transition to rugby because they're similar but different. Like it took me a good 2 years. I'm going into my fourth year of playing rugby. It took me 2 years to lose all the roller derby habits when it came to rules of contact and adjust to rugby ways of
Mm.
contact. Because in roller derby, you cannot use your arms, you cannot grab, you cannot pull, and in rugby, that's all you do. You grab, you wrap, you pull, you yank.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So yeah. Oh, that would be. You have to like train
yeah.
yourself so
Yeah.
different.
My first game that I played, and one of the photographers caught it on film. You're only allowed to hit a ball carrier. Like you can't just. It's not like football where you can just tackle somebody that's in the way. You can only tackle people that have the ball in hand when they have it in hand. So the ball carrier was coming at me, and I'm like, okay, I got to stop her. So I tucked and drove my shoulder into her sternum because that's what you do in roller derby to stop somebody, and I would have gotten red carded. But I told the ref, I'm like, this is my first game. I've played roller derby for 9 years. He's like, oh, okay, you can't do that. He's like, I should have give you a red card because that's a big no-no. You have to wrap, have to grab. Yeah, I was like, okay, my bad. But somebody caught the exact moment in a photograph of me putting my shoulder into this girl, and the look on her face, she's just like, and you see me, and I'm tucked, and I literally shoulder perfect. It was a beautiful roller derby hit, not good for rugby.
Perfect for roller derby,
Yeah,
illegal in rugby.
roller derby, not good for rugby. So
That's
yeah,
funny.
I mean, roller derby really is what started the CrossFit. All of that, it all roots back to roller derby.
I really love that. I really love that. I don't feel like I have access to roller derby or rugby in my area, but I feel like I would love both.
There's teams everywhere. You just got to find them.
I'm gonna have to
Roller
dig.
is kind of just coming back. Like COVID had a huge effect on roller derby.
On
Oh, it
everything.
so my league that I had, Atomic Roller Girls, I literally shut it down because of COVID, because I lost 80% of my skaters, and they were too afraid to come back because it's a full contact sport. They were
Yeah.
just weren't comfortable. You're right in, it's close. You're in each other's faces. So a lot of them were really reluctant to come back because they had children in the home or elderly parents to care for, or they had known people that had, had complications from it, and they just didn't want to put themselves at risk, which I
Right.
completely understand. Yeah, but they didn't want to. They're like, are you going to make people skate with masks on? I'm like, we're doing cardiovascular endurance. I'm not going to force anyone to wear a mask. Like, we need to breathe.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I lost so many skaters that I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go try rugby, and that's where that came from. Like, I finally have time to do rugby now, so we're done with roller derby. We're retiring from roller derby, and we're going into rugby.
That's really awesome. I actually wanted to ask you a question back on about CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
If someone who was not familiar with it at all, how
Mm-hmm.
would you explain to someone what CrossFit is?
So CrossFit is basically functional fitness. It is all functional movements that you do in everyday life: squats, lifting things overhead, picking things up. So think about the basic lifts: back squat, deadlift, and a bench press. If you need to push anything off of you, bench press, it's that motion. Pushing yourself up off the ground, a push-up motion. Deadlift, if you need to lift something heavy. We're not lifting with our backs. We're learning proper form, bend at the knees, hinge at the waist. Same thing with getting something shouldered overhead. You need to put a heavy box up on a shelf. You got to know how to lift it the right way without throwing out your back. So when I look at all the other types of movements and look at CrossFit, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a cult. Like, well, I mean, it kind of is, but
I
I
feel
love
like
it.
anything that people enjoy, like if there's people, like if a bunch of people enjoy the same thing,
Uh-huh.
then boom, cold.
Yeah.
In every case.
But
Like,
it's functional fitness, like truly and genuinely. It's functional fitness the way I see it. Because it is, to me, it's just helped me be stronger in everyday life. Like I said, when I started doing it for roller derby, I was a brick wall. Nobody could move me because I had good core stability. I had good balance. We do single leg, uh, isolation movements in workouts. So I knew how to balance. And then also from having a broken ankle and being in a boot for 3 months, I learned how to balance on one side very proficiently. So my core skills and my balance were just like on point.
that's so
So
great.
yeah, it hit me. Yeah, it was hard for them to get me off of my center of gravity because I knew how to hold it.
Yeah. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. I miss CrossFit now that you say
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
I kind of
I love it.
transition. I feel like I periodically go back and forth
Mm-hmm.
with just how I'm feeling. If I
Yeah,
feel like I want to bulk up, I'm gonna lift heavier, and then
yeah,
I get you. But CrossFit is really the basis of all of it because it's all about
yeah,
form.
yeah. It's all. I mean, form is. I'm one of those coaches that I'm a stickler for form. I'd
You
rather
have
you
to
do lightweight
be.
and good form. It's form over function. Like, I don't care how heavy you can lift. If your form is crap, it doesn't matter. Like, I see people just doing these overhead lifts and I'm watching their back just, I'm like,
Oh,
oh, that kills me when I see people with terrible
I
form. I'm
can't
like, you're
look
gonna,
around in the gym because well, one, I don't want to accidentally make eye contact with anyone because then they might say something to
yeah,
me, and that is horrifying to me. Like, I would rather anything else happen.
yeah,
But I remember being in that place where I was new to the gym and I was afraid that people were gonna judge me. So like I
hmm,
try not to look around because I will be judging you.
yeah,
Like straighten your back out. Like I'm like, wait, I'm just not gonna look because
yeah,
just do what you gotta
yeah.
do.
And I tell people like so as a coach, as a trainer, if I go to the gym and I see somebody with crap form or somebody posts a video and they've got crap form, they're not paying me for my opinion. I get paid to tell people how to work out. I'm not giving that away for free.
I
So
love that
well,
mindset of
unless,
it.
unless they ask, like there's been
Yes.
people like I've had people post videos and go, hey guys, can somebody help me out with my form? I want to make sure I'm doing this lift right. I will direct message them. And because I'm not going to put them on, like some things are just better left unsaid. And some people can be
I agree.
very just rude, it's
I know.
unnecessary. And not everything is taken the right way, and you kind of have to be, you have to know your audience. That's the biggest thing. Know your audience. Because I post a lot of my daily workout videos on TikTok, and I had a guy come onto one of my videos and start critiquing the fact that I wasn't lifting with a belt or in a safety rack. And I'm like, one, I don't need a baby rack. Two, I never wear a belt because I have good core stability, and I want to build on that. And he's just like, well, if you don't want people critiquing your videos, and don't post them on public. So I went to
That's not a critique.
yeah, I'm like, I went to his page and I saw there were tons of things that I could have said about him.
Oh,
Tons. Oh, tons. I'm like, ye in glass houses should not throw stones. Like, please, dude. And so I basically told him, find something better to do, get a life. Like, your opinion means nothing to me. This is what I do for a living. Go play somewhere else. Like, this is not
I
safe here.
100% have found, especially now that I'm kind of like more active. I put myself out there more on social media, which that just puts you up for more critique. Like I put my art out there,
Mhm.
I put my hair out there, I do all of that. And what I have come to find is the people who want to hate on me for whatever reason, whether it be that I'm a 33-year-old woman who likes to show off her body
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is, that the people who are hating are never better off than where I'm
No,
at.
no. Yeah.
Because the people who are better off than where I'm at are too worried about making themselves better to care about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Only time they'll reach out to me is to tell me how proud they are of my work, how proud they are
Exactly.
to acknowledge my movement forward.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, my friends and family, I don't have time to worry about what someone else is doing unless it's my friend and family succeeding. I'm gonna go on my way and be like, that person's got it going on, because that's how I work.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like is important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One of the best little trinkets of advice that I ever got from a friend, he said, never take advice or concern yourself with the advice of someone that you would not trade lives with. If they're not better off than you, then their opinion is invalid. Yeah.
no,
Like
yeah,
people that you strive to be, not somebody that's just trying to drag you down to their level,
right. The
basically.
people who
Yeah.
have time to throw hate and shade are they're not doing better than
No.
you if they have time to even
Yeah.
realize that. So
Misery loves company, and they want other people to be miserable too. So like I said,
like,
like
what is the logic
yeah,
behind that?
we all have opinions, and yes, when I see people with form, I'm thinking in my mind, oh my god, they're going to hurt themselves, like that's terrible form, their coach is doing them a disservice. But do I say any of that out loud? Do I let them know? No, that stays in
Right.
here. Not everything needs to come out.
If they want my knowledge, they'll ask. Like
Yeah.
if you want to know what I'm thinking about it, I'll if you ask me, I'll tell you. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I agree. I like that mindset.
Yeah. And the gym that I go to now, where I train, there's members there that sometimes, like I said, it's all about knowing your audience. And myself as a coach, I like to connect with people on like a personal level. I like to get to know them, because then they're more likely to listen to me and not take it negatively or as a critique, or like I'm coming at them out of left field or whatever. So there was a member there, and the coach, he's pretty much like, look, whatever you tell her, she's not going to listen. You're going to have to tell her 20 times. He kind of gave up on her. He's like, he's like, good luck with that one. Like, she never listens. I connected with her, and I was like, hey, can I do you mind if I offer you some tips on making this movement a little better for you, and like making it a little easier for you? I see you're struggling a bit and I want to help you out. She's like, oh yeah, that's great, I'd appreciate it. Gave her some tips, and I tell you, every time I see her in the gym, she thanks me. She's like, you know what, that move, I've been able to go up 10 pounds on that thing because of what you showed me, and it's just so much easier, and oh my god, now I know to adjust this and do this and do that. And I'm kind of looking at the coach like, you gave up on her. You got frustrated and you gave up on her. I just took a little time to get down to her, get into her, like her personality a little bit,
Yes.
and her, and that made a world of difference. So what I've told her, she didn't just in one ear and out the other, like he said. He's like, you're gonna have to tell her 20 times. The information is not gonna stick with her. And I'm like, no, I'm
It's
gonna
the
get
way
it to her in a
you're providing the information,
yeah,
probably.
that I'm gonna make sure that it sticks with her,
Yeah.
And it did, and she thanks me for it every time I see her. So
I
that's
love
that
that.
to me is
Yeah, I really love that. Because I kind of feel that same way. I mean, I'm a hairstylist, but I feel the same way with my clients. Like you have to build a relationship too, and
yeah,
or they're not gonna if you're like a bitch to them or don't understand them, they're not gonna come back for your services.
yeah. They're not if they come in saying, hey, I just want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then you go in and do something completely different and you don't listen to them and you're like, no, but this is way better.
Yeah.
They're not going to come. Like, trust me, I'm the stylist. I know what looks better on you. I've actually had somebody do that where I said, this is what I want. I had my little screen on and it just went off. Where I said, this is what I want. And they're like, oh no, this is way better. And I'm like, but that's not what I want. And I never went back
Yeah.
again. Like if you leave the style and you want to put a hat on, that's bad.
Yeah.
Like, where's a hat? I need a hat.
That's not good at all. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you know about like plant medicine and holistics. Like, how did you get into that? And tell me a little bit about what you know.
So basically, as far as like military goes and mental health advocacy and stuff like that. So I have a lot of friends that served in Desert Storm that are still active duty, and there's a lot of stuff to deal with, a lot of triggers, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, and so as an adult coming into that, being in friendships or relationships or whatnot with people that have served, it kind of opened me up to a whole world of like really understanding PTSD, because I mean anybody can have PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. It doesn't have to just be from combat or war or military. It could be from childhood trauma, from emotional trauma, anything. So but when I really started kind of introduced to plant medicine and specifically psilocybins was from a former Marine vet, and he did mushrooms to kind of escape. Like it was just his, like, if he needed to process something or he needed to work through something. So he asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, I've never done that before. Like, yeah, let's check it out. And so I watched him experience a bad trip. I've seen him have a good trip. Like it really, and a lot of people say like, oh, you have to be in the right mindset. You have to be in the right mindset. You have to be in a good place mentally. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. I mean, just from my personal experience, whether you're in a good headspace or a negative headspace, yes, it could affect where you go, depending on how deep into, I guess if you want to call it a trip, how deep into it you go. But there's also microdosing. I've known microdosing to help alleviate a lot of anxiety. So a lot of people, I have friends that will walk into a stadium, like Allegiant Stadium. Perfect example. We went to go see a rugby match at Allegiant Stadium, and she walked into the stadium, didn't even get, like, just in the lobby area, didn't even get into the arena. She walked in, looked around at the lobby, looked at all the people, and was like, nope, too much. And she
Nah.
turned, yeah, she's like, nope, too much. No, I'm not gonna. Not. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna watch the game. I'm good. I'm gonna go home. I'm like, seriously? Like, I'm like, to me, somebody who has never really experienced that level of anxiety, it's foreign to me. So I try to understand it. So like I asked her, like, what was it about it? Like, why?
Yeah.
She's like, it was just massive. She's like, it was huge. I was like, well, it's a stadium. What do you expect? She's like, yeah, but there were so many people there. And I'm like, okay, tell me more. Like,
Yeah, like
you know,
what about that? There's so many people.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
have you been in an experience where you, like, there was a crowd of people and you couldn't get out or something? Like, where does this come from?
Yeah.
So in doing that also, so I started looking at like different treatments that were non-medicinal, non-prescriptive, because I had done, I had a bout with depression when I first moved here about 20 years ago, where I was seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist and they put me on Lexapro. Didn't like it. Not a fan. Not a fan of antidepressants. I just didn't feel
I don't
right.
don't feel right either. I'm still on it. I've been on the same antidepressants for like a really long time.
Yeah.
And just because like I feel stable-ish,
Hmm.
I haven't changed it. But
Yeah.
there are some days where I like wake up and I'm like, I am weird. Like there is something off
Yeah.
about me.
And I mean, a friend of mine, his wife was on antidepressants, and he said he knew the moment he needed to get her off of them, he was looking at her, and she was just kind of zoned out. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And with a smile on her face, she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." As a tear just rolled down her face. Yeah, and he's like, "No, we're getting you off that shit. We're no, we're done with that. Like, no, this is not okay. You're crying, but you're telling me you're fine. Like something is not right."
Yeah.
So I did it, I think, for maybe like 3 months, and I was just like, no, there's got to be a better way. So I got into EMDR therapy, which I don't know if you're familiar with that, with EMDR.
Mm-mm.
So EMDR, I gotta look at my notes, because I always forget what it is.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
where is it? There we go. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So EMDR therapy is what a lot of therapists will use to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, to deal with um, traumatic injuries, things like that. And I did that. And when I say it opened up Pandora's box for me, it opened up Pandora's box. Like EMDR therapy is something that it is hard. It will take you to the root of your issue. It will take you back to that moment, that place and time where your trauma started. And the whole point of that is to reprocess it and to desensitize yourself from it. So a lot of people that have like these behaviors as adults, when they don't know, like, why do I act this way? Why do I do this? Why do I chase red flags? Why do I think I can fix all these? So it takes you back, like, where did that begin? And for me, it was when I was 11 years old. Like, we literally found the moment that thought entered that insecurity entered my brain and became a part of my life. And it was when I was 11 years old. So constantly going back to
I
that and
would be
then reprocessing.
scared to do something like that.
You know what? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, because my name is not Willy Wonka. I don't sugarcoat shit. And I tell my skaters that all the time. Like, you want nice hammer or you want real hammer? Like, you want me to be nice to you or do you want me to be real with you?
I always want
I'm
to.
I'm a very real person. So EMDR therapy will take you through hell.
Yeah.
It will. It
But
is
like,
one of
why
those
do
therapies
I want to do that? You know what I mean?
to
Like,
make it better. Because you
but
have
like, I
to
feel
go through.
okay. I feel okay. It's like, do I want to continue living the way that I'm living and just
Mhm.
deal with it that way? Or do I want to try to go and face all of it?
It,
And that's like the
it
balance
yeah.
question.
Yeah. So doing the EMDR therapy, like I said, it opened up Pandora's box for me. Now I know why I act the way I act. Now I know why I do the things that I do. Now, how do I stop? How do I not do it? Like, I understand it. I get it. I know where it comes from. So when I start to fall into those behaviors, I know why. But it didn't resolve any issues for me. So then that led me down the path of ayahuasca. So going into like plant medicine, I know there's so many things, and I could go on and on about ayahuasca for like hours. But
I mean, you can hit whatever parts you want to hit, girl. We got time.
yeah,
So,
so
well, how
the
do you spell
so
that? Say
it's
it again.
ayahuasca. So it's hold on, let me, because I always spell it wrong. Where did I write it? I thought I wrote it down. Ayahuasca. Hold on. I gotta write it to.
It's fine. You want to know how I thought you'd spell it? Iwasca.
It's Ahyuasca. Yeah, I think ayahuasca. Yeah,
Wait, say
it's
it
A
again.
Ayuasca. Ayahuasca. So it's a plant found in the Amazon. It has medicinal purposes. It is a grounding. It's a leaf and a root, and they brew it into a tea. And
Like Kava. I just learned about Kava too.
yes, similar to Kava, a lot stronger than Kava.
Okay.
Kava is kind of like I've never done Kava, but from what people have told me, it's kind of like it just kind of it gives you like a little tingly feeling, like it's like almost like being kind of slightly buzzed, but not like it'll relax you. Um, Ayahuasca takes you to a different realm. Yeah. So
Oh.
it's not a trip like psilocybin. Psilocybin is a hallucinogenic. Yeah. Ayahuasca is not a hallucinogenic. What it puts you in a state of is a waking dream. So you will have visions, you will see things, and depending on how deep you go, where the medicine takes you, it'll help you process some things. So for me, what led me to that after the EMDR therapy, and I went into a very, very deep, dark depression. Like I scared myself sometimes, and I knew that I needed to fix it. And I also had friends that were going through the same thing. And so in looking in things for myself, I was also looking for things to help my friends that were suffering from PTSD, emotional trauma, physical trauma, all those things. And it led me to ayahuasca. And so I started doing research, and it is used a lot by people that suffer from anxiety, that suffer from PTSD, because it helps them process things and heal. It's a healing medicine, and that's what it's known for. They have these like ayahuasca retreats in the Amazon, in Peru, in Costa Rica,
I want to
that
do
cost
that.
thousands of dollars.
Boo.
Like I would, yeah. Oh, but wait, it gets better. There is so because it is a religious ceremony, there are churches churches that do it. So I found one here in Las Vegas that does it. So I didn't have to fly to Costa Rica or Peru and pay $10,000 to stay in some shishi foo hut in a tree.
Nice.
I found a place here in Las Vegas to do it, and it was life changing for me. It really was. It came in a moment in my life when I needed it the most. And my friends that have suffered from PTSD, going through all that trauma, I've talked to them about it. I'm like, you have to do this. Like, you have to do this. And everybody's afraid because what they hear about ayahuasca is about the purge. People throw up. People will, crap themselves. Like it will. Purges come in many forms. You will either eliminate your bowels, your gut. Some purges come in forms of crying, screaming, dancing, wailing. Like it's all different. And yeah, or laughter. Like some people will just be laughing. So
I feel
it's a
like I'd be
very,
a pooer. I would absolutely be a pooer. I feel like
and our so our the shaman that leads the ceremony, he says never trust a fart. Never trust you. Yeah, that's the golden rule. Never trust a fart. If you
I
think
can't do that normally.
if, if you feel it, get up and go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
but
That's funny.
the whole experience, the ceremony is just it for anybody that I mean, so for as far as like anxiety, PTSD, things like that, doing plant, and I don't mean like, I know a lot of people that will imbibe in marijuana, like that kind of an anxiety, like it makes you more comfortable, kind of
Sometimes,
drops it down a little.
sometimes I feel like it increases my anxiety, but
Yeah, yeah, and some people it has that effect, like it makes them more paranoid or more like just kind of wanting to stay in a hole. So things like microdosing psilocybin, that reduces anxiety immensely. Things like DMT, I don't know if you're familiar with that. DMT. So many new things to
no, but I
discover.
want to be.
Yeah, yeah. So DMT is another. It's something that our body creates naturally. It is a euphoric feeling. So microdosing things like psilocybins and DMT can help greatly reduce anxiety.
Where can you get
Um,
something like that? Like, where can you get DMT?
so, so DMT, there are some places where you can find it, but it's widely available in Europe because it's not really legal.
Oh, so is it kind of like it's kind of like marijuana?
Kind of, yeah. like you can get it, but it's not, you're not going to be able to go to a hash house or, a dispensary and buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is like, it does amazing things. And another thing that I've done. So bufo is from the bufo toad. It's a poisonous toad that's found in Sonora, in the Sonoran
Okay.
Desert. And so bufo is 10 times more potent than DMT. I'm going to say it's 20 times. But
Have you tried all
bufo,
these?
yeah, yeah, for research,
Yeah.
research purposes.
Science,
Yeah,
obviously.
to understand. But when I started doing ayahuasca, the group that I do that with, they offered bufo ceremonies. And I looked into it. You can go down to Tulum, Mexico. They have bufo clinics on the street. It's legal there. It is
Oh.
100%. Like, you can go down to Mexico and you can get bufo anywhere. So it's a toad venom that they dry out because it's poisonous. If you like lick the toad, it'll kill you. But if you dry it and then smoke it, it
Who
contains high level.
the French
I
toast found that out?
whoever discovered this, thank you, but we appreciate the risk. Yeah, I don't know how these things are discovered either, but God bless them. Um, but so this is how impactful bufo can be to people. I have a good friend of mine. She is a struggling alcoholic, has struggled with alcoholism a majority of her life. She's been in and out of rehab clinics. She even was in Betty Ford, like the Cadillac of all rehabs. And it was just a constant struggle for her to stay sober. So I was talking to her about bufo, trying to get her to go to the ayahuasca ceremonies because there was something that triggered her alcoholism. And she just hadn't figured out what it was, even through years of AA, because she kept going back to the bottle. So I said, I want you to look into bufo because it has been known to cure people from drug addiction, alcoholism, anxiety, depression, all those things. I took her to a bufo ceremony, and she did that. And witnessing this like brought tears to my eyes. When she was in the medicine, she sat up and she's like, there's so much poison in my body. I need it out. I want the poison out, because she'd been on antidepressants and alcohol for years. And so she was saying, like, she could feel all of those drugs, all of the medication, all the alcohol in her body. She's like, I want it out. I don't want this in my body. I need to be clean again. Like, she's just like, and she was like dry heaving. She's like, I can taste the medicine. She's like, I can taste the poison. I can taste the poison. I want it out of my body. And so she went through this like a purge, but nothing was coming out. But I felt like I was releasing everything. And after the ceremony, she's like, I have no desire to drink alcohol ever again. Yeah, she's like, I don't even. She told me that she had a dream. Alcoholics, when they dream of drinking, especially if they're in recovery, they'll have drinking dreams, from what she described to me. And she says, usually in her dreams, she'll drink. And then when she wakes up, she's not sure if she broke her sobriety or not. And so sometimes I can be like, oh, well, I had a drink. I might as well, in for a penny, in for a pound. But she said she had 2 drinking dreams and she did not drink. She goes, that's never happened before. She goes, I had a drinking dream, but I did not drink. And that's when she knew that it worked. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was just an amazing experience for
Does she
her.
still not
And
drink to this day?
yeah, but now she's going to AA, so like she's back in meetings and everything to maintain that sobriety. Because bufo, it's like it's not something that you do often. It's not like something that you want to do monthly, it's like maybe a couple times a year. So even though it got her over that hump, because it was the longest she had been sober in over 4 years.
Wow.
And so when she started feeling that urge again, like she's got a rough life. And so when something
I mean,
triggered her to want to grab that bottle again, that's when she's like, okay, I either need to do another round of bufo, or I've got to figure out how to maintain this on my own.
right.
So going to, yeah, she started maintaining it on her own. So she's still, as far as I know, she's still sober. So she's
I
been going
love
to like,
that. Oh, I love that
yeah,
story. It's such a
yeah.
good story. Wow. Wow. We blew through all the notes that I had for us. So I didn't want to give you an opportunity to tell people where they could follow and support you. I know we're on your fitness page, so go ahead and
Yeah.
just go ahead and shout
Yeah.
everything out.
So that is atomic underscore sports fitness on Instagram. And then also I know I have a TikTok. It's crazy, but I go live every morning on my TikTok with my morning workouts. So people can watch me suffer or suffer with me or,
Oh,
just,
I
I'm,
actually love that. That's so
yeah.
fun.
So this morning, because I didn't go to the gym, I did yoga. I did like a mobility session on my live this morning. It's like, okay, guys, I know it's not the usual gym setting, but we're gonna do some mobility. So I did that this morning, and then I'll get to the gym later. But yeah, so on TikTok, it's Star Candy, and I think no, I don't have my TikTok linked to my Instagram, but I do have my Instagram linked in my TikTok. So my Instagram is the atomic underscore sports fitness. And then TikTok is Star Candy. And I go and I post workouts. I post stuff and some fun stuff too. I like to have fun.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today to
Yeah.
come and talk to me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for supporting my podcast and coming and being a guest.
And if anybody has any questions about any of the plant medicines or wants more information, I can definitely send that information their way. Because there's ways to find it in your areas. I know there's even an ayahuasca, I want to say somewhere in North Carolina, because I know somebody that did it in North
Really?
Carolina. Yeah, and I'm going to be out there in July, by the way.
You should message me
Yeah.
because I would love to get together if
Um,
that worked out.
yeah, I'm going to be there in July for my Nana's. My Nana's having her 88th birthday, so I'm going to be celebrating that. Yeah.
That's so fun. What part of North Carolina? Area?
Fayetteville,
Big town?
Fort Bragg.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Girl,
Fort Bragg, baby.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, you should definitely send me a message and we'll link.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anybody wants any info, feel free to message me on my Atomic Sports Fitness page, and I will be happy to give you forward whatever information I can do to help in a journey for health and wellness and mental stability, because we all need a little sanity in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for caring so much and for all that you do. You're so
Thank
great. Thank you. All
you. Appreciate
right,
you. All
bye.
right, bye.